my gosh, it does that. Let it. Can you be quiet? So guys, today I'm going to be I'm gonna be live streaming, watching his stories live stream because right now he's live streaming. So I'm gonna be watching it. All right, let's get into it.
Every single time you do this,
Let's
don't
go.
touch me.
Always
What
ads.
is this show?
These
Who are
ads,
these
bro.
people? Explain
And
what
I'm not.
happened
And
between
by the way, I'm not gonna be like Legend DT talking throughout the entire thing. Zelly had a gymnastics accident.
Jessica and her ex
That's why y'all should get good trainers that train her well.
in an infographic. Okay. Got it.
That's Connor.
That's the guy.
Showed up wearing her ex's actual skin. She pointed at my
Why is
chest
he
and started
doing
screaming, "Brad always wore red. This is triggering. Take it off right now." I said, "Ma'am, half of Target sells red shirts. It's a primary color, not a personality trait. I've never met Brad. Don't know Brad. But apparently I'm his stunt double because I shopped at Old Navy." My girlfriend stepped in. "Mel, it's just a shirt." Melissa spun around. "It's not just a shirt. It's the exact shade Brad wore to my birthday before he cheated on me. She told me to go change. I didn't have another shirt. She said I could wear one of her dad's. Her dad was 5'2" and 300 pounds. I was 6'1" and built like a scarecrow. I'd look like I was wearing a tent. Better than looking like Brad. During dinner, Melissa stood up and announced to the whole table that red shirt wearers are narcissists. It's a power color. It shows dominance. Her dad looked down at his red apron. "Am I a narcissist?" "That's different, Dad. That's BBQ red, not manipulation red." Her mom pulled me aside and whispered, "Maybe just avoid red in the future." I said, "Should I also avoid breathing because Brad did that too?" Then Melissa's friend walked in wearing a red top. Melissa hugged her. "Cute top, but it's red. That's burgundy. Totally different energy." Plus, she didn't wear it at me. Like I woke up that morning and thought, time to emotionally destroy a stranger with my laundry choices. Her brother put his hand on her shoulder. "Melissa, you can't ban a color." She pulled away. "I'm not banning it. I'm protecting my energy from crimson-coated chaos." I was wearing a $15 polo from the clearance rack. When it was time for family photos, Melissa grabbed my arm and pushed me to the back row. Then she told me to turn sideways so the red wouldn't dominate the picture. I was standing there like a criminal lineup while everyone else was smiling. Her aunt, who'd been drinking all day, pointed at me and said, "Why is that boy standing like that? He's wearing Brad's color. Brad wore blue to your wedding." Melissa tightened her jaw. "He wore red underneath. Next family event, I wore beige." I walked in feeling bulletproof. Melissa took one look at me and her eye twitched. Brad's favorite khakis were beige. "Brad, wherever you are, please just give me one safe color. Just one." I was sweating through a sumo suit on a Japanese game show with my finger over a button that would win me $1 million and leave Daiki with absolutely nothing. I'd flown 9,000 miles for my daughter's medical bills. Daiki and I had spent 4 days getting through every challenge in matching sumo suits, sharing his rice balls between rounds, and pulling out his phone to show me pictures of his pregnant wife and the cancer paperwork he'd been carrying in his pocket. The host raised his megaphone. "Press button. Win $1 million. Other man win 0. No press. He win everything. Both press. Nobody win. 60 seconds." The clock started counting down on a giant screen above us. Daiki's hand went straight to his button, and so did mine. His pregnant wife was 3 rows back with her hands folded over her stomach. The giant screen behind her was showing my daughter in her hospital bed waving at me with both hands. I lifted my hand off the button. He lifted his. I put it back. He put his back. 20 seconds. The audience was screaming in 2 languages. He started crying, and so did I. Then through the glass he mouthed 2 words at me. "Press it." He nodded at my button. My finger pressed down on the rim, hovering a millimeter from contact. The audience went silent, and I could hear my own breathing. 5 seconds. I leaned toward the glass and made sure he could read my lips. "Press it, Daiki. You need to live to see her." Then I closed my eyes and took my hand off the button. The buzzer screamed, and I opened my eyes. Daiki's hand was at his side. We stood there in our sumo suits, and the audience didn't make a sound. Daiki's shoulders dropped. I shook my head and mouthed, "I'm sorry," through the glass. Then the host walked to center stage with a gold envelope and ripped it open. 12 season. We make this show. Every contestant always press button. You first to refuse. When no man press, both man win $1 million. This is secret rule. The booth doors slid open. Daiki sprinted across the soundstage and bounced into me. We rolled across the floor and lay there laughing in our sumo suits while his wife cried cried in the audience, and my daughter screamed for me from her hospital bed on the giant screen behind her. I got a notification on my phone. Emergency weather alert. Category 4 hurricane warning. Evacuate immediately. I ran to the car to evacuate with my family, but there was no seat left in the car for me. Where am I supposed to sit, Dad? My dad put more boxes in. You're not coming with us. You're staying here to protect the house. I always knew I wasn't their favorite child, but I never thought they'd leave me to die. Can you move some of these boxes so I can fit? Absolutely not. Everything in here is important. My mom rolled down her window. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Before I could say anything, they drove off. It started raining, and I ran inside and locked the door. The wind was so strong the walls shook. After just a few minutes, I heard a loud crack and saw the front door burst open. Water rushed in, flooding the living room in seconds. The water was rising fast. I ran upstairs as fast as I could, but suddenly, I felt my sock getting wet. I looked down and saw the water was pooling on the floor around me. I pulled the attic ladder down and climbed up. My hands were shaking. This was the highest point in the house. I shut the attic door and sat down. If the water reaches me here, I wouldn't have anywhere else to go. For a moment, everything was still. Then a window exploded. Glass flew across the attic and a piece sliced into my leg. I screamed and pulled it out of my skin. Water started pouring in through the broken window, making the water rise faster. When the water rose to my chest, I realized I was going to die in the house my parents left me to protect. Then I heard a helicopter outside. I punched the ceiling above me until it broke open. I climbed onto the roof and waved my arms in the rain. The helicopter spotted me and pulled me up. A man looked at me confused. Are you alone? Where's your family? They left me in the house. They left you alone in a Category 4 hurricane? I could tell by his face he knew this wasn't an accident. Don't worry, kid. We'll help you. I was alive, but my parents didn't know that yet. A few days later, my family arrived at the house. Undercover police cars were outside the house waiting for them. My mom stepped out and saw me standing with them. You're still alive? The officer stepped out of the car and arrested them for attempted murder. I looked at them. Don't worry, guys. You'll be fine. My older brother logged onto my computer and smirked. This is for beating my high score in Pac-Man. He pressed delete on my school finals project. I instantly grabbed the mouse from him, furiously clicking it to try recover it, but it was gone. You're redoing my project. I slammed the mouse down. He laughed. Not happening, lil bro, but I got in his face. I mean it. Me and you, Pac-Man. One game. You win. I admit you're better at Pac-Man and never bring up the project. I win. You're redoing the whole thing. His smile dropped and he shoved me back. You're on Wimp. We walked to the Pac-Man machine, and I cracked my neck, ready to do this. I pulled a coin and flicked it in the air. Heads or tails? Heads. It landed tails. You go first. He pulled out his fingerless leather gaming gloves. Grips everything, lil bro. He cleared the first 5 levels without breaking a sweat, while I watched with my arms crossed, trying not to show weakness, even though my heart pounded. He smirked and chained all 4 ghosts repeatedly, and soon his score climbed past my old record. He finally died at 125,360 points, then peeled off his gloves and slapped my shoulder. Beat that lil chump. I gripped the joystick with sweaty hands. If I didn't beat his score, my project was gone. I was so nervous I lost a life during the first 5 levels, and he laughed behind me like he'd already won. But that only motivated me, and I proceeded to grip the stick with laser focus and locked in. His eyes tightened, and when I reached 120,000, he leaned into my ear. You're gonna choke, wimp. You always choke. But I said nothing and cleared another level. With 1,000 points away, he flicked my wrist. I died, and my stomach sank as I only had 1 life left. When the game started, he immediately lunged for my wrist again. But this time, I was ready and blocked him with my shoulder. He tripped over his shoes and fell. I quickly ate a few more dots, and my score flipped 75 over his. I pumped my fist in the air and let Pac-Man die, while he laid on the floor, groaning in pain. We walked back to my computer, and when he sat down and opened a blank doc, I dropped his gaming gloves on the desk. Now use those to type my project. Grips everything, big bro. I was chalking my cue at the pool table when my stepdad slammed his beer down and yelled across the garage. Hey kid, I'll buy you a brand new car if you can sink that 8 off 3 rails, but if you lose, I take your car for the month. I set my chalk down and walked across the garage. My mom grabbed my arm and stopped me. You don't have to do this, but I shrugged her off. Mom, I've made that shot 100 times. I walked past her and stopped in front of my stepdad. Say it again so everyone hears it. He grinned at his buddies and repeated it word for word. I shook his hand. You're on. I lined up the cue ball slow, making sure every guy at the table was watching. I extended my arm and hit the cue ball. It came off my stick clean and caught the first rail at exactly the angle I wanted. Then the second and third rail. It hit the 8 ball, which rolled soft across the table toward the corner pocket. I was already picking the car color in my head, but that's when my stepdad shoved his hip into the table. The 8 bounced off the line and drifted toward the rail instead. I didn't move. He laughed into his beer. The kid actually thought I'd buy him a car. My mom started to say something, but he waved her off. Stay out of it, Linda. You raised him too soft as it is. He walked over, picked up my keys, and dropped them in his pocket. You're walking to school for the next month. Maybe that'll teach you how a real bet works. Then he chalked his own cue and started running balls just to drag it out. One of his buddies, this huge guy named Vince, started cracking up in the corner. My stepdad froze with the cue halfway back. Did I say something funny, Vince? Vince shook his head and pointed his beer past him at the table. My stepdad turned around slow. The 8-ball was sitting in the corner pocket. He walked over and stared down into the pocket. No, there's no way. Vince was wheezing now. You knocked it in yourself. Your own hip put it in. The whole garage caught on and lost it. He dug my keys out of his pocket and slid them on the counter. I picked them up and patted him on the back. When are we getting that new car? Maybe now you know how a real bet works. The girls from my class screamed because a famous singer was coming to visit our high school. He was supposed to get here any minute, but when I saw our teacher, Mr. Brown, in the hallway, he looked nervous. He ran down the hallway, and I thought, how cool can this celebrity be? But when we finally walked into the gym, as soon as we got inside, they slammed the doors behind us. Police officers were waiting inside, telling us to sit down. We were all really confused, but when police dogs started searching us, I knew something was wrong. Then, our principal yelled, "Everyone with a gray shirt, come down immediately." They all walked down, and the cops took them outside. Now we were scared. We had to sit there for hours, not even getting to eat lunch, and people were furious. One guy tried to fight one of the cops, but they slammed him on the ground and put him in handcuffs, telling everyone to stay calm. People were crying, calling their parents saying they were scared, but they couldn't even get to us. Police were completely surrounding the building. "Just tell us what's happening." The principal finally grabbed the microphone. He was sweating, and we could tell he was scared. "Students, there is currently an active bomb threat in the bathrooms. Mr. Brown confirmed it. Nobody is allowed to leave." Everyone went completely silent and started freaking out. They started flooding towards the exits. "Let us out," but the police were tackling them. They were fighting the cops. Parents started trying to break down the doors, and everyone was panicking. But when one guy stood up, Mr. Brown saw his gray shirt under his hoodie. There he is!" They grabbed him and rushed him out, yelling at him to admit he did it. He yelled that didn't know what they were talking about. They were furious. But just as the officer was about to swing, the door burst open. A detective yelled, "Wait! Stop!" Everyone froze. She ran in holding an iPad and showed us the footage. And that's when we found out what happened. Turns out, Mr. Brown completely misunderstood when he overheard that student telling another boy in the hallway, "I'm so gonna blow up the bathroom later today." Me and my roommate arrived home to an eviction notice on our apartment door. I immediately tore it down, and we read it. "Last 3 months' rent not paid. You have a week to move out." I started panicking because we were screwed, but that's when Theo nudged me. "Dude, what is that on the back?" I flipped it over and found an advertisement for a game show. Or, "You can defeat the world's deadliest obstacle with a friend tonight and win the ownership rights of any building in the city." It was hosted by our landlord. I was already scanning the QR code to sign up. We don't have a choice. We gotta do it. That night, we both showed up, and the first thing we saw was our landlord in a gold glittery suit, holding a microphone and screaming to the audience of over 5,000 people. Without further ado, let's get started, everyone. We excitedly sprinted towards the elevator that carried us up all the way to 5,000 feet in the air. I started sweating like crazy. "Is this even legal?" Theo shrugged. "Better than being homeless." We walked out and saw a bunch of other brokies our age, all waving to us like they understood why we were there. Vance tapped his microphone. "All right, you all have 3 minutes to make it across the platform without falling down into the pool of water below." I grabbed Theo's hand. "We got this, bro. We're gonna be rich." We sprinted across the spinning...
It says 24/7 like he's gonna be live for 20
cylinders, already out of breath, and I wondered if this would all be worth it. When we got to the other side, I collapsed from exhaustion, but Theo instantly pulled me back up. "Dude, look, we're the last ones standing." I stood up and couldn't believe how easy it was, until all the lights turned red. Congratulations to Theo and Ross. Now there's only one obstacle left. Me and Theo looked at each other completely confused, because this wasn't part of the deal. Suddenly, a red button emerged in the middle of the obstacle. Vance smiled. "The first one to press it gets ownership of the building, and an additional $400,000 bonus. The other gets nothing." A clock lit up that counted down from 60 seconds. Me and Theo locked eyes. "Dude, you should take it and put your brother in private school. It's not fair that he has to spend his childhood being bullied." I shook my head. "No, I know your mom's been struggling since the cancer diagnosis. Press it and use the money to pay for her treatment." Neither of us moved. Buzz. Time ran out. "You both lose," Vance said. "Get them off my stage." We both got in the elevator, finally getting ready to accept our homelessness. But when we walked out, every single person in the audience was chanting our names and booing Vance. He sweated nervously. "Guys, I'm just following the rules of the game." But the audience kept screaming and holding up signs. "Pay them both or we're not coming back. No crowd, no show." Theo raised his fist over his mouth and laughed. "Dude, they're on our side." I was too amazed to respond, and Vance had no choice. He signed his own building over and handed us both a duffel bag filled with $400,000 each, jaw clenched. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the same eviction notice we'd torn off our door. "It's our building now. You've got a week to move out." A woman walked into my pawn shop with a violin and asked if I could give her $50 for it. But when I looked at it, I realized it was a 1743 vintage violin worth millions. I asked where she got it, and she said, "My mother just left it for me. Please, is it worth anything? I need grocery money." Her kids were in the car outside, skinny and with torn clothes. I looked at the violin again. If I took it, I'd never have to work again. But as I watched her filling out the sale form, I simply couldn't do it. I went to tell her what it's worth, but then my boss Gerald came up and yanked the violin from her. "We'll take it." He was smiling wide, and I immediately realized he knew. He gave her the $50, and she said, "Thank you so much," and walked out before I could stop her. Gerald started laughing, screaming he was rich, calling the woman an idiot, and walked to the back with the violin. I watched her drive away, and when I looked over, Gerald was already taking pictures of the violin, planning to sell it. I couldn't believe it, and waited until he went to the bathroom. I quickly snuck in his office and grabbed the violin. I then took the woman's sale form she'd put her address down, and immediately ran out. I drove to her house while Gerald called screaming the whole way. I knocked on her door and saw her kids behind her, trying to cut up cardboard boxes into clothes. I explained to her that her violin was worth millions. Her jaw immediately dropped. She took the violin and started crying. I was happy, but then I saw a text from Gerald saying I was fired. I didn't care at first because I'd done the right thing. Until 4 weeks passed. I hadn't found a job and was short on rent. I swallowed my pride and went back to beg for my job. Gerald smirked. "You can have your job back, but only if you go and get the violin off the woman." I didn't want to do it, but my rent was due tomorrow. I was deciding what to do when I heard the doors open. The woman walked in, but she was holding an envelope. She gave it to me, and when I opened it, I saw a check for 25% of $4 million. I sold the violin. This is my way of saying thank you. I looked and saw her kids in her car, now smiling and wearing new clothes. Gerald saw the check and instantly freaked out. "Where's my cut?" The woman told him, "You paid $50 for something worth millions from a woman who needed grocery money. You don't get a cent." She walked out, and that's when one of the kids looked at Gerald and started playing an imaginary violin for him. Me and my dad were playing Pokemon Go when a cop car pulled up beside us. One officer got out while the other stayed in the car looking at his phone. My dad was swaying side to side, smiling and holding his phone close to his face. The officer asked, "What are you two doing?" But my dad didn't even look up. "Playing Pokemon Go." The officer's jaw clenched. "Look at me when I'm talking to you." I stepped in. "My dad is autistic, sir. We're just playing a game." But the officer ignored me and looked at the small wet stain on my dad's pants. "What happened to your pants?" My dad laughed. "I dribbled in the bathroom, sir." The officer replied, "Those are way too wet for a dribble. Have you been drinking or doing drugs?" My dad shook his head. "I don't do that." But the officer crossed his arms. A grown man walking around a park with a kid. "Wet pants. Won't make eye contact. You've got to be on something. I need to see your bag." He grabbed my dad's bag and started going through it. He pulled out snacks, clothes, a juice box, and only got more angry when he didn't find alcohol. But then he saw a Pokemon auto catcher, and his eyes lit up. "What's this thing?" My dad replied, "It's an auto catcher. It connects to Pokemon Go." But the officer smirked. "Looks like drugs," and put it in his pocket. My dad's eyes went wide. He started rocking back and forth. "That's mine. I need that. Please give it back." He reached for it and tried to take it back, but the officer instantly grabbed and forced him against the hood of the car. "That's assault on an officer. Hands behind your back." My dad started crying. "I just want my auto catcher back. I worked overtime for it." I screamed. "He has autism." But the officer didn't care and started reaching for his cuffs. That's when the other cop stepped out. He was older and, judging by his shirt, also higher ranking. "What's going on?" The first officer said. "This man assaulted me." But the second cop just started pulling him off my dad. "I saw everything." He took the auto catcher from the first cop's pocket and gave it back to my dad. My dad smiled and hugged it, and the older cop told his colleague, "We're having a conversation about this." They got back in their car, and that's when the older cop tapped my dad's shoulder. "By the way, there's a Snorlax right here." I was confused until he took out his phone, and I realized he was also playing Pokemon Go. My parents gave me a 2-hour screen time limit, so I spent the weekend playing games on things that technically weren't screens. My dad walked into my room mid-match, ripped the Xbox cord out of the wall, and tucked it under his arm. Third time this month. My mom appeared in the doorway behind him. "New rules. 2 hours of screen time a day, homework first, nothing after 8. Break it once, and you lose games for a week." I sat there with the controller still in my lap, staring at the dead TV. I wasn't going to lose again, and this time, I was going to follow their exact words. The next morning, Dad found me at the kitchen table playing Pokemon on a Game Boy. He stopped halfway to the coffee maker. "It's 7 a.m. You know the rules." I didn't look up. "This isn't a screen, Dad. It's a display. No backlight. Different thing entirely." He shook his head and walked out with his coffee. When my Xbox timer hit 2 hours that afternoon, I switched straight to my DS. "Time's up," Mom called from the kitchen. I switched devices. "You said 2 hours of screen time. New screen, new 2 hours." She rolled her eyes and went back to chopping. By Sunday, they barely looked up when I sat down to play. So I dragged the old tube TV out of the garage and hooked up an ancient Nintendo in the living room. Dad walked past and stopped. "What are you doing?" "Flat screens are screens. This is a tube. Different technology entirely. Like 100 years old." He gave up and walked away. That night, I dragged in a projector and started playing Wii Sports on the wall. "I'm looking at the wall, not a screen," I announced as I bowled a strike. Dad was on the couch trying not to laugh into his hand. Mom marched in. "Get that thing off my wall." After dinner, they sat me down at the kitchen table. New rule: 2 hours of gaming total, all devices combined. No matter what stupid technicality I came up with, I shook both their hands like we'd signed a treaty. The next afternoon, I came home with a huge box and dropped it on the kitchen counter. Mom turned from the sink. "What is that?" I pulled out Dungeons and Dragons. "No screens involved. Takes about 6 hours a session though." Her face changed as she did the math. "Fine, 3 hours of games. Split however you want." I shook her hand, and the D&D box went back to the store the next morning. By dinner, I was on the Xbox using my 3rd hour, and Mom just quietly watched, not daring to say the word screen. While running laps in gym class, I felt my chest lock up and reached for my inhaler. The gym teacher immediately ran toward me and ripped it out of my hands. "Stop being soft. You don't need this. Now give me 10 more laps." There was nothing I could do, so I kept running, but my legs felt like concrete, and every breath was harder to catch. The gym lights blurred at the edges, and I started seeing black. Mr. Riggins paced beside me and stopped the whole class to point. "Look at this pathetic loser. He can barely run 5 laps. No wonder he's so weak." A kid in the front row couldn't hold it in and started laughing. Then the whole class joined in. But I ignored them and kept running because stopping now meant Riggins won, and the whole gym would see it. After gym class, Riggins wouldn't give me my inhaler, so I went to the principal's office and told him. He looked at me, then laughed like everybody else. "Riggins has been here for more than 10 years. He even taught history before he was a gym teacher. How dare you accuse one of my staff? Leave before I give you detention." The next day, Riggins called me out again. "Move it, asthma boy. Or do you need mommy to carry you?" The class laughed again. I locked my jaw, ran my laps, and didn't say a word, but I was done. Something the principal had said stuck with me, so I went to the library and looked through the staff directory and clicked Riggins's name, just as I thought, certified in history, not PE. Then I looked over the policy handbook and found it. That's when I knew I had him. I walked into the principal's office, and before he could say anything, I slammed the policy handbook on his desk. "Mr. Riggins is certified in history, not PE, and the handbook says non-certified staff aren't allowed to administer physical discipline, so you either do something about it, or I report you to the Board of Administration, and both of you can be fired." Next morning, the gym doors swung open mid-warm-up, and the principal walked straight to Riggins. "You're fired. I need your office cleared out by noon." Riggins just stood there, scratching his head. "This is ridiculous. I've been running this class all year. I thought we were friends. I'm sorry. Rules are rules. You were never certified to run this class. You can't do this." The principal pointed to his office. "Don't make this harder than it is. Grab your things and leave." Riggins walked into his office, grabbed his bag, and walked out of the gym with his head down. Weeks later, I saw him working at a sports store. I walked in, looked him dead in the eye, rolled up the middle finger, and asked if he carried inhalers. My brother looked me dead in the eye and said, "The only superpower you have is being annoying." I slammed the front door and ran down the street. I was 6 blocks from home, still crying, when a white van pulled up beside me. Before I could react, the door slid open, and a man in a ski mask grabbed my arm. "Don't make a sound." He yanked me into the back seat, locked the doors, and pulled onto the highway. I pressed myself against the window and watched my neighborhood disappear. I begged him to let me go, but he just laughed. That's when I heard my brother's voice in my head. "The only superpower you have is being annoying." I wiped my face on my sleeve and scooted forward. "Did you know that a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance?" He told me to shut up. "I just thought you would want to know." He said nothing, so I sang the SpongeBob theme twice, replacing every other word with the word Bologna. His knuckles went white on the wheel. "Do you have any snacks?" He said no. "That's kind of rude." I demonstrated my loose tooth with my tongue for a full minute. "Are we going to your lair? Is that where you keep the snacks?" I started crying for real because I hadn't fed my fish Gerald before I left. He asked who Gerald was. "He's my fish." He said Gerald would be fine. "You don't know that." I cried louder. He cranked the radio to drown me out. Then I sneezed and accidentally spit on the back of his neck. He pulled over so fast the tires scraped the curb. He got out, opened my door, and pointed down the road. "Your neighborhood is that way. Go." I climbed out. "Wait," I said. He froze. "Do you want to know what a group of owls is called?" He got in without closing the door and floored it. I watched him run a red light getting out of the neighborhood. When I got home, my brother was still on the couch. I walked straight past him. "You were right," I said. "It is a superpower." Gerald was fine. A young kid walked into my pizza store carrying a PS2, then plugged it into the TV in the top corner and started playing without a word. I asked, "Aren't you gonna buy anything?" But he gripped his controller tighter. "No sir, I have no money. My parents kicked me out and this console is the only thing I own. I came in because it's safer than being on the street." I noticed his ripped shirt
Yes,
and
I'm
ribs
watching his
showing,
story.
and my heart broke. I immediately heated up the biggest slice on the house, but his face dropped. "I don't want any trouble, sir." I pushed the pizza forward. "I mean it, no catch, and call me Tom." He almost teared up and grabbed the slice, eating like he hadn't in days. "I'm Jackson, by the way." I looked up at the TV screen. I used to be obsessed with that Mortal Kombat game. I've been stuck on the boss battle for weeks. I pulled up a chair and grabbed the controller. "Let me show you. Never use your power up too early." We sat for over an hour, and when the boss finally dropped, Jackson shot up and high-fived me. But then the door aggressively swung open, and a man with red, angry eyes stumbled in. "Jackson, I told you when you get your punk ass out of my house, leave the PlayStation. I told you I'm selling it to pay my dealer back." Alcohol reeked from his breath as he stumbled towards the console. Jackson immediately cowered. "Yes, I'm sorry, Dad, you can take it. You're lucky I'm not whooping you for this, Jackson." The man reached for the console, but I immediately stepped in his way, my arms crossed. "You're not taking that." His eyes went wide and he got in my face. "And who you are, move." He reached past me, but I instantly pushed him back and grabbed a knife off the nearby counter. "Get the f*** out of my store, or I swear your ass is about to become a pizza topping. I'll go to jail if I have to, but you're not touching Jackson or his console." His jaw clenched, but he just pointed at Jackson. "You're no longer my son." He slammed the door on his way out. I looked back at Jackson, his whole body shaking in fear. I thought he was going to hit me. "Thank you." He lunged to hug me, and I realized I needed to help him. "Do you want to stay at mine tonight? I have a spare room, and in the morning you can help me open up shop?" His mouth dropped. "You'd do that for me?" I said yes, and his lip immediately started quivering. He nodded repeatedly into my shoulder, because he'd start crying if he said another word. Jackson walked in 3 hours ago with just a PlayStation. Now he's got a job, a place to sleep, a friend, and his PS2 is still sitting plugged into the corner TV. Dad pressed $10 into my palm and said, "That's your allowance for the week, son. Spend it however you want." My eyes lit up, and I immediately went to the store, walking out with chips, candy, and some soda. But on my way home, I spat the soda from my mouth because the bike I'd been wanting for years was for sale at $250. I immediately did the math and realized I could have a new bike in 6 months if I just saved my allowance. I went home determined and saved every cent from that day on. Every time Dad pressed the $10 into my palm, I carefully hid it behind my old bike helmet in my closet. I watched my friends spend their allowance on snacks and chips, and even though I was jealous, I held out. 6 months later, I walked into the bike store and gave the cashier my $250. I took my dream bike off the rack and cycled home with a huge smile. I wheeled it inside, but when Dad saw me, his face immediately changed. "Where did you get that bike?" I smiled. "I've been saving my allowance for months, Dad. I haven't bought a single snack. Are you proud of me?" But he went red and got in my face. "That's not what an allowance is for. An allowance is for small purchases, not saving up." The smile on my face dropped and I replied, "But you said spend it how I want." "That's literally what I did. I just saved up and bought my bike." He held up his hand and called my mom in. They lectured me about being irresponsible with money and said, "If you were going to waste your allowance on toys, you should have just given Dad back his money." My dad took the bike and loaded it in his car. I'm going back to the bike store with this. It was my first day as a delivery driver when I pulled up to a house with 3 German Shepherds loose on the front lawn. I triple-checked if it was the right house because I knew this wasn't going to be good, but it was the right house. I stepped out of the car, walked onto the lawn, and immediately one of them charged at me and bit down on my arm. I screamed in pain, but I've been a K9 police officer for 8 years, so I grabbed the pressure point behind its jaw, and it released immediately. Then the front door swung open. The house owner screamed, "What the hell are you doing to my dog?" I was confused because his dog was the one that attacked me, and I was just trying to do my job. But before I could say anything, he stormed off the porch and pushed my chest. "Don't you ever put your hands on my dogs." I showed him the bite mark. "Your dog bit me. I was just delivering a package. You know, doing my job." He scoffed. "If you were doing your job correctly, they wouldn't have bit you." He got closer to my face. "These are purebred German Shepherds. They could kill you if I told them to." I almost laughed because I train dogs that actually do that for a living. His dogs weren't trained. They were just out of control. He pointed in my face. "You're nothing more than a delivery driver. You're useless. Now get off my property before I let my dogs kill you." That's when I tapped my Apple Watch and sent my location to my unit. I didn't say a word. I picked up the package and turned to leave. Then he commanded his dogs, "Get him." I heard all 3 dogs running toward me. One bit my leg. Another went for my arm again. I got them off, but now I was bleeding in 3 spots. He just stood there smiling. "That's what happens when you mess with me. I'm calling the cops on you." I stayed quiet. Then I heard sirens. The customer smiled. "Good. The cops are here. You're finished." 3 K9 units pulled up to his house. Officers stepped out with trained German Shepherds on leashes. The customer's dogs tucked their tails and ran behind him, whimpering in fear. The smile left his face because he realized the cops were here for him. My sergeant walked up to me. "We got your location. What happened?" happened. I pointed at the guy. He commanded his dogs to attack me. My sergeant looked at the customer. That's assault with a deadly weapon. That's jail time. He put the customer in handcuffs, but he tried resisting. What are you doing? He's just a delivery driver. I whistled, and the K9 German shepherds lined up in front of me, growling at the man. That's my side hustle, but these are my co-workers. I yelled, I'm gonna get you, while playing tag, my fingers almost reaching Jake's back. But right as my fingers brushed against his sweater, a random woman yanked me back. I saw Jake get away, but when I looked at the lady, she was crying, staring right at me. I'm taking you to the police. You won't get away with this. She immediately grabbed me by my wrist and dragged me, but I had no idea what she was talking about. I slapped her hand. Lady, let go of me. I was so close, but she only gripped tighter, dragging me across the park while everyone stared. Then I noticed a little girl trailing behind her, looking at me terrified. She dragged me until she found a cop. The cop saw her red face and trembling hands and said, Ma'am, is everything all right? She pointed a shaking finger at me. He's dangerous. He tried to kidnap those kids at the park. Arrest him now. My jaw dropped. What? Me? My friends ran over. Are you in trouble? The cop looked at me, then at the hysterical woman, confused. I was playing tag with my friends, but she only got louder. Don't trust him. She pulled her daughter close. He's a danger to my daughter. I didn't understand why she was so upset, accusing me of something I obviously didn't do, and snapped, What the hell is wrong with you, lady? The cop put his hand up. Ma'am, he's a child. Tell me what's really going on, or I'm arresting you for harassing a minor. The whole park circled around her, and the woman's face crumbled as she dropped to her knees. A year ago, a man tried to kidnap my daughter from this park. Her voice was shaking. When he grabbed her, he said, I'm gonna get you. Every time I hear those words, she fell into her daughter, sobbing. The cop's face softened. She looked at me. I'm sorry. I'm still going to therapy for it. I felt bad for her, but I had a game to finish. I turned around, ran straight up to Jake, and tapped his back. Anyway, you're it. I walked past my computer and saw my daughter furiously clicking the keyboard, her fingers slamming every key with power. I leaned over and realized she was typing a comment under a video of a 10-year-old boy playing video games. I'm gonna punch you so hard you're going to cry. I know where you live. She pressed the enter key, but before I could tell her to stop, I saw something that made me grip my desk. She had posted the comment under my YouTube account, which had videos of me gaming on it. I immediately got her off the chair and opened my comment history, then started hysterically laughing because if I didn't, I would cry. She'd left hundreds of comments under videos of little kids. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm coming for you. I'm hiding in your closet. She had accidentally made it look like me, a 34-year-old, was threatening kids online. I immediately went to start deleting the comments, but then my doorbell rang. 2 officers walked into my house. We need to search your computer. We've heard suspicious activity from it. My legs froze as I led them to my computer, trying to explain everything. But the comment, you look punchable, was already open under my account, making me look even worse. They glanced once at the screen and began putting cuffs on me. I screamed, it wasn't me. My daughter left these comments. She came running and begged the officers to believe me, screaming it was her, but they kept walking me out. That's when I remembered that every time I logged into my PC, my webcam automatically started recording my face for my gaming videos. I begged the cops to check the footage, and they reluctantly pulled it up. We watched my daughter hop in my chair with a grin and type manically for hours at a time. The timestamps of the videos matched when the comments were left. The officers apologized and walked out, and as I started deleting everything, my daughter tapped my shoulder. Was my trolling at least funny, Dad? During my son's birthday party, my wife grabbed my arm. Did you hire a clown? I quickly said, no, I didn't hire a clown. Why? My wife looked scared and pointed. I looked over and saw a clown was walking my son and 3 other kids into the back of a van. I sprinted over. Hey, what are you doing? Get away from my kids! The kids were laughing in the back of the van, thinking this was a game. The clown turned around and smiled creepily. These kids aren't going home today, and it's your fault. My blood went cold. What do you mean it's my fault? Who are you? He reached up and wiped the makeup off his face. Remember me? 4th grade. My chest tightened because I knew exactly who he was. He was my best friend in elementary school. One day, he started messing with a lighter behind our school and accidentally set the whole building on fire. When the cops questioned me, I told the truth, and he went to juvie. You snitched on me and ruined my entire life. You got to grow up. Birthday parties, a wife, kids. I got a cell and a criminal record before I turned 11. He's been holding a grudge for years, and now he was getting me back for it. I looked at my son in the back of the van laughing, thinking this was a game. So here's what's going to happen. He pulled out a lighter and shoved it into my chest. You're going to burn your house down, right now, or I'm taking these kids, and they aren't coming back. My hands were shaking. I looked at my wife, hoping she'd think of something quick. I saw her quickly pull out her phone and dial 911. I took the lighter like I didn't notice. Fine, I'll do it. I gripped the lighter and started walking toward my house. I could feel him breathing down my neck, following me, but I was also walking towards the other side of the house, so he'd walk away from the van. I glanced at my wife. She nodded. The second he was far enough from the van, my wife and 2 friends sprinted to the van and grabbed every kid out. He heard the commotion and spun around. What the? Bang! I swung the lighter across his face as hard as I could. He stumbled back holding his cheek. Then we heard sirens coming down the street. He looked at the cop cars and tried to run, but his oversized clown shoes caught each other and he fell flat on his face. The cops cuffed him on my front lawn. The kids started clapping and cheering. "Best clown ever, Daddy!" I put on my headset to game with the boys, but quickly realized it wasn't my friends I was hearing. It was two men, mid-sentence. "Our foreign policy won't change while he's in that cabinet, and he won't listen to his advisors." My heart dropped, and I listened closer. And when I heard, "We can't leave the election to chance, the state needs our party," I realized I was listening in on a government conversation. I looked through my lobby with shaking hands, thinking about how this was possible. "We do it before the vote," the man said. "Make it look self-inflicted." That's when I saw my mic light was turned green. Whoever was on the other side could hear me, and they'd know I was listening in. I muted it so fast I knocked the controller off my lap, so scared my body trembled. Then I grabbed my phone and instantly texted the boys, "Come to my house now. Drop everything." The four of them were here in minutes, and I pressed the mic into Reese's hands. He listened in, and his hands immediately flew in the air. "We definitely shouldn't be able to hear this, so if anything happens, remember, I am not suicidal." He laughed, and I couldn't believe he was joking about this. They took turns passing the mic to each other while my hands shook, but then the voice nearly made me collapse. "We do it in 7 days. If anyone finds out about this, you know what to do." My blood ran cold as I stared at the headset, and that's when I caught Reese out of the corner of my eye. His thumb was on his phone, and I realized he'd been recording my headset for the last 2 minutes. He'd captured everything. I screamed, "Reese, stop," and reached for his phone, but he smiled and leaned away from me. Then he typed something and turned his screen towards me, and I saw the video he just took was now posted to his story. Anyone in the world could see it. My hands went numb, and I shook just thinking about what the government would do to me. Reese tapped my shoulder. "You can't even see our faces, dude. It's fine." He went to put the headset back on. I immediately ordered everyone out of the house, then locked the doors and stared at my headset, clutching my pillow in fear. My heart pounded so loud I couldn't sleep, but when I checked my phone at 3 a.m., Reese's story was taken down. I texted him, but he never even read my message. I walked to school next morning, expecting men in suits to pop out of every bush, but they never did. And during math, Reese's desk was empty. While walking home, I decided to go check on him, but when I reached his house, I nearly got sick. Police were surrounding it, as the whole area was blocked with tape. I nervously asked an officer what happened. He shook his head, but I begged him, "Please, sir, Reese is my best friend." The officer knelt down, looking like he was about to cry. "Official reports state Reese went crazy last night. His whole family is dead as a result." My face drained of color, and I just nodded and walked back home. Reese's words echoed in my mind. "If anything happens, I am not suicidal." I grabbed my headset in silence and didn't dare try turn it on. 1 week before the end of school, 2 seniors I didn't know cornered me and gave me a brown bag that was the shape of a pistol. "Hide this in the chemistry storage room and don't get caught. If you snitch, we know where you live." They showed me my address. I didn't want to do it, but I thought about my parents. When chemistry came, I used my hall monitor pass and walked into the storage unit. Until the next day, when 2 different square, leave it behind the square, leave it behind the gym, square, leave it behind the square, leave it behind square, leave did as told, did as told, did as told, did as told, did as told. But on my way, noticed the brand. I decided to just leave it. This repeated for the whole week, 2 different seniors each day, giving me new packages that looked like wrapped knives, gasoline canisters, and other dangerous things for me to sneak past teachers and drop off in silence. But then on the Friday, everything went wrong. I was dropping a brown bag into the bin beside the principal's office when the door opened. "What are you doing?" I froze on the spot and went pale, shaking my head and refusing to answer. The principal stepped forward. "Then you're coming with me." We went into his office, where he sat me down and opened the package. I was shaking the entire time. A beaker and some white crystal powder fell out, but also a note. "You know what to do."
When you don't order furniture from Wayfair, it's natural to wonder what if. Like,
Yeah. Mr. Telephone, there's something wrong with my heart. Come on, baby, click it to Mr. Telephone. That was you! Boom! Get out, sir! My gosh, that was your fault, sir. Yes, bro. There you go. Bro, that was your fault, bro. Bro, am I live streaming, bro? Oh, yo. Thank you, bro. Sup, bro? Know me? Why does it say my stream's paused? Am I actually... Bro, I didn't even know I was streaming. Bro, I didn't even know I was streaming. Bro, that guy literally just let them score so easily. But there's literally a speed glitch in here. There's literally a speed glitcher in here. There's multiple speed glitches in here. And I am a speed glitcher. So when it's so hard to react to when they score because they're speed glitching. Bro, get out of my face. You know, I think they need my help. Because I don't even think anybody's speed glitching in this lobby, not gonna lie. Shoot. Bro, why did you even... Another free one. Oh my gosh, this guy's gonna get booted. Oh my gosh. I knew it from the time that I saw him. Bro, somebody freaking protect the goal. I didn't even say I wanted to be goalkeeper. Oh my gosh. Bro, somebody go protect the goal. What did I do, bro? I did nothing. Get out of my freaking face. You're acting like I did something. Get out of my freaking face. I didn't do nothing, bro. Get out of my freaking face. I didn't even do nothing. And you're over here going like this. Like, I don't even know what that means, bro. If you want somebody to be goalkeeper, be your freaking self. Be it yourself if you want somebody to be goalkeeper. There's like nobody on Team Brazil. For some reason, I'm playing for Bro, just let it go out. Just let it go out. I'm about to go play some penalty series, if there even is any right now. They have 16 versus 16s in this game. It's just wild. 16 plus 16. And the map is this small for 16 plus 16. The map is this small and it's 16 versus 16. It's crazy. Alright, I'm gonna join. Is there any penalty series going on right now? I'm gonna play some, like, maybe 3v3 games, 4v4, but there's probably, like, nobody in here. Because why would somebody click on a specific or 3v3? Yeah, exactly. There's, like, nobody in here. God, should I wait for people to join, or should I just join a different one? I'm actually really bad at playing GK, but let me check. Let me check chat. Let me check the chat. I'll be back. Still watching. You're still. Yo, why? Why is it a 1v1 right now, bro? Like, why? Why is it a 1v1? It's supposed to be a 3v3. Bro, there's no pace mechanics. There's no pace mechanics. What are you doing? Dang, he switched teams, bro. How do you mic? How do you do that? Dang, you really need him just to win, bro. It's crazy, bro. There's no rules in this map. Look, dang, bro's reaching, bro. Imagine reaching. Yeah, why are you reaching, bro? Why are you reaching, bro? Why are you reaching, bro? Why is it a 4? Why is there 4 people? Bro, there was actually. Why is there 4 people? It's a 3v3. It's supposed to be a 3v3, not a 4v4. Why is everybody just completely sweat? Why are we just completely silent? How is it 3-1? I did not score 3 times. Or did I? How is it 3-2? I did not score 3 times. How did you do that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Holy reach. I'm a good goalkeeper. I'll try to block yours. Huh. Did this lobby just mute?